MJ, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make one of our rustic plaid pumpkins. I'll be showing you how to make our small size here, but if you purchase the PDF, it also includes an extra small, a medium, and the large size pumpkin. Okay, so the supplies you're going to need is some polyester fiber fill to stuff your pumpkin. You'll need some twine and a stick for finishing off the pumpkin. We'll be using a 6.5mm crochet hook and 3 colors of burlap roving. Now burlap roving is a bulky weight number 5, so you can substitute this with any bulky weight 5 yarn. And the colors that I'm using today are dark gray, flint, and rice paper. Now I like to begin with my darkest color. So in this case it's our flint, and then I like to bring in the lightest color next. Now really you can switch this up if you want, but we'll use the most of the main color and I'll be using flint for it. So let's begin with a magic circle. Now you'll wrap the yarn around your index finger 3 times. Take your hook, slide it through, grab that first loop, pulling it through, and we'll chain 2. Now we'll work 14 double crochet in our ring. Depending on the size pumpkin you're making, the starting number of double crochets can change. But for our small size, we'll be making 14. Okay, so once you have your 14 double crochets, you just want to push that out of the way, take your tail, and start to pull. Now you'll see that one loop has started to pull in, but not the other loop. Take the loop that's pulled in, grab it and use it to pull, and it will pull that other loop in tight. Now just grab your tail and pull. So now we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet to join. And now we'll begin increasing and also changing color. So we're going to chain 2. Our chain 2 will not count as a stitch here and throughout. You want to find your first double crochet, the post, because we're going to now begin working front post double crochets around the posts. So here's our first post. You don't want to work around the chain. So yarn over, push your hook under the post, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we're going to go back around that same post again. Yarn over, go under the post, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and now we'll change color before we yarn over. So now I'm going to grab the rice paper, pulling that through. We're just dropping off. This is tangled a little bit. We're just dropping off the flint. And now we're going to work, find the next post, and we'll work 2 front post double crochets around the next post. And now we're changing color on that final. So let's keep our flint to the back and the rice paper to the back, the flint to the front, so we don't get tangled as we go, and yarn over with flint. And now yarn over and we'll work 2 front posts around that next post. And then we change back, we just drop off, we grab our cream, pull it through, find that next post, working 2 front post doubles. Keep it this way. So this is what all we're going to do all the way around. So we're going from 14 stitches to 28 stitches on this round. Okay, so I've worked all the way around, and you want to be sure you're ending with your cream color. If not, you've probably done something wrong. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Now on that final front post double crochet, we'll yarn over again with our flint. Now we're going to slip stitch in the top of that first front post double crochet to join, and chain 2. And now for this round, we're going to work 1 front post double crochet in the first post, and then we'll work 2 front post double crochets into the next, around that next post. Pick up the cream, pull through, and we'll do the same thing for the cream section. We'll work 1 front post double crochet around the first post, and then we'll work 2 around the next. Drop that, and always make sure you're keeping your colors separated, 1 to the front, 1 to the back. And we're just repeating this pattern all the way around. Okay, so I've worked all the way around, and now you should have 42 stitches, 3 stitches per color section. And now we're going to be bringing in our dark gray. So we'll yarn over with dark gray and slip stitch to join. So we're slip stitching to the top of the first front post double crochet and chain 2. Now we're not going to be doing any more increases for our small pumpkin. 42 is as wide as we're going to make these. So for this round, we'll work just 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 3 in our dark gray. And then we're going to grab our flint, which is basically black, yarn over, and work 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 3. So now for this round, our pattern is going dark gray to black. Pull that out. We'll change color on that final one, so we'll drop black to the back this time, and we'll do gray to the front. And just complete doing this all the way around, and I'll meet you up when we need to join. Okay, so this is how it's looking at this point. You may think it's kind of looking a little weird, but as we continue with the non-increases, the pumpkin will start to form and take shape. So now we're going to change to our dark gray, yarn over, and we'll slip stitch to join. I'm just going to flatten this and measure just so you can have an idea of your size at this point. So mine is approximately 6¼ inches across. 6¼ We're going to do another round with the same color pattern, because we're wanting these little squares to, well, the different colors to be about the height and width about the same, so that they're creating a square. So 3 across and 2 rows in length. So now we're switching back. So this is basically just a repeat of our previous round. So I'm going to work through this fairly quickly, and I'll meet you up when we're joining again. Okay, so I've worked all the way around, and now this time we're not going to change the color, so we can yarn over, because we want to have our dark gray or our black above the dark gray. So we'll slip stitch to join, chain 2, work 1 front post double crochet in each of the next 3 posts, and now we're changing back to our cream, because we want cream, black, gray, black. So we just drop off that dark gray, we just leave it there, pull through with the cream, and there's no increases, so we just continue working around, changing our color as we go. So we're black, cream, black. And you'll notice it's starting a little bit to form the rounded shape. Also notice it's really thick and bulky, so it's really going to hold its shape well. So I'm going to continue working around again off camera. Okay, so once we get around, we're going to change back to gray, and then we're basically doing a repeat of the last 4 rounds. So we're going to repeat that we have 2 rounds of our gray, black, and then 2 more rounds with our black, cream. So we have a total of 4 full square rounds. Okay, so I'm going to begin that, and when I finish up my next 4 rounds, I'll meet you to show you how we begin working the decreases. Okay, so I've finished my repeats. Now we're finished with the cream, so you can just cut that. And we're bringing in the dark gray. and chain 2. So now we're going to begin the decrease pattern. So work 1 in the first, and then we're going to decrease our next 2. Yarning over with the black. So we'll decrease and then yarn over with the dark gray. So work 1 in the first, and then we're decreasing the next 2. Okay, so I've worked that all the way around. So we'll yarn over with the dark gray, slip stitch to join, chain 2, and okay, so we're decreasing these down so that we only have 1 in the gray. Yarn over with our black and decrease the black section. And we're just repeating this all the way around. Okay, so I finished my final decrease. Now we're finished with our dark gray, so you can cut that. And now we're going to slip stitch to join. And now we can stuff the pumpkin with our fill. Okay, so next we'll chain 1, and we're going to work front post single crochets around every post. So there's 2, 3, 4, 14, and then we'll slip stitch in the first to join. And now we're going to close up the pumpkin. So leave a long tail. So now to close it up, we're just going to use a large yarn needle. And we're just going to work through the front loops only. So you're just pushing your needle through the front loops. So work that all the way around. Once you've gone all the way around, whoops. This is what can happen with the roving. Unfortunately, so rather than trying to redo that, I'm going to try and make this work. Now, I want to make sure my stick is going to fit in there. And then we just weave back in the opposite direction to keep that secure. And then you can go back again in the opposite direction. You gotta just be careful not to pull roving too tight like what I did. Okay, so now what we want to do is give the pumpkin its really nice shape. So every 2 sections we're going to indent. Okay, so we're going to want to give our pumpkin its shape now. Because I don't want the roving to break, I'm just using some worsted weight yarn in a similar color to my main color. And we'll go through, down through the center and push your needle up through the center of your pumpkin. You want a fair amount so you have enough to go around. So now you can see this was my join. It kind of separates a little bit more than the others. So I'm going to start by putting my yarn down through there, and I'm going to knot this just so it's secured before moving on. You can weave that in after. Sometimes it can be difficult to put your yarn needle up through the bottom. So what I'm going to do is we're skipping, so we have one section going down here. You're skipping over your gray and black, so we're going over 6 rows or stitches and going through the next section there. You can just pull it as tight as you want. Come up through. And then again, we're skipping over 6. Going down, pushing your needle up through. Skipping over 6, going through that next section. You can always sort of fiddle these as well to make sure they're bunching out nice. Skip the next 6. And then this is the last, so that will evenly space them. And you're just going to want to secure it now once you're finished. This needle's pretty big, so I'm struggling to kind of push it through. have our shape. You can stick your stick in there. Cut a piece of your twine. And just tie the twine around. And now those ends that I have here, I'm just going to weave them through the pumpkin to hide them. Okay, so here's our finished pumpkin. This is how it looks. We'll measure up the size to give you an idea of how big your finished pumpkin. So for our height, you're looking at about 3.5 and about 6.5 is your diameter. 6 to 6.5. Now, if you're wondering how much yarn I used about 45 grams of the main color, meaning that you could do another small size pumpkin with what we have remaining. For our contrast colors, I used about 25 grams, so you may get 3 or 4 pumpkins from a contrast color.